Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am sorry that I'm just getting to my first video today, and the reason is because this was a holiday weekend, and I went camping last night and froze my behind off. It was very cold last night, and I spent my night beside a fire outside, and it was windy and freezing cold. Luckily, we had some wood pallets, and we were throwing them on the fire. You've never seen anything go up in flames except maybe a Christmas tree the way a wood pallet does. But it went from being cold to being so hot I couldn't even stand near the fire. Anyway, let's get this video started. I had someone specifically ask me the other day if I would do a video where I just looked at various Wikipedia pages surrounding Ripple, XRP, and digital assets. And so I thought I'd give it a stab and just see where the trail led me. And so it did lead me to some interesting places. And then I'm going to cover a couple of news topics at the end of it. So let's go down and see what happens when you just start pulling Wikipedia pages. I think you'll find out that this is pretty darn interesting. The first thing that I decided I would look up is the Wikipedia on Ripple itself. So you'll see a few things here that just kind of are things you probably already knew. It says the original authors, but basically what this is these are the original creators of XRP when it was called OpenCoin. Okay. Now, the first thing that I highlighted the interesting things I found. Now, I read through all of these things. Most of the things on these pages are things that you already knew. But I got down to this part and I wanted to show you something. So under history, it says Ripple was conceived by Jed McCaleb and built by Arthur Brito and David Schwartz, who then approached Ryan Fugger, who had debuted in 2005 as a financial service to provide secure payment options to members of an online community via a global network. Fugger, and Fugger, I don't know which way you say that, had developed a system called OpenCoin, which would transform into Ripple. So this Ryan Fugger, I'm assuming it's Fugger. There's always been a mystery to me around this. First of all, this guy, and then you got David Schwartz and Arthur Brito, who you never see. Okay, so just think about that in terms of this. So anyway, it says Ryan Fugger said that Fugger had developed a system called OpenCoin. Now the way I understood it, OpenCoin started when Chris Larson came in, but maybe this is correct right here. But anyway, this Ryan Fugger, my understanding of Ryan Fugger is that he had already started a company called, or the Ripple protocol. But anyway, let's not worry about that right this second. So I decided when I saw OpenCoin, I want to type in OpenCoin Wiki and see what would come up. This is the only thing I could find. OpenCoin Wiki, anonymous virtual token. So I'm assuming that this is exactly what OpenCoin, this was something from OpenCoin. The OpenCoin project is about creating anonymous virtual tokens by providing a set of standards, formats, and protocols. And GPLED reference implementation of these standards. Tokens can be used for different kind of purposes, including online payments and voucher systems. So I'm reading down through this, and most of it is a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. It's a lot of technical type stuff. Until I get down to here, this is the one that jumped out at me. It says, this is from July of 2011. And this is a quote, but I don't know who the quote's from. It says, we created a first draft of the protocol, which was reviewed by our crypto experts, and no obvious flaws were found. A legal report documents how an OpenCoin system could be used within the EU. What in the world? Is that the same? Is that the European Union? And where does this come from? This came out of nowhere. It says we also created a sample implementation mostly to test the protocol. But to me, if you look down this whole page, it's all about OpenCoin and all of the cryptography, and it talks a lot about technical type things. But then out of nowhere, status, July 2011. This is from July 2011. We created the first draft of the protocol, which was reviewed by our crypto experts, and no obvious flaws were found. A legal report documents how an OpenCoin system could be used within the EU. Now, the reason the EU jumps off the page at me, if this is the EU I think they're talking about, that is out of nowhere, first of all. But what is the one area of the world that has seemed to warm to Ripple and the whole Ripple XRP thing more than anyone else is Christine Lagarde, who is with the IMF and now runs the EU, right? So, or whatever her organization is called. But the point is, this really jumped out at me, and this is purely just my typing in Wikipedia with all these different search terms, and this is the kind of stuff that popped up. Now, I'm going to show you something else. Now, this is from the Ripple Labs. This is from the Ripple Labs Wikipedia page. And again, I was just going and typing in anything having to do with Ripple XRP, the people, any of the things that are right in the middle of Ripple and XRP that I thought would be important. This is not anything that significant. I just wanted to show you all of the different companies that had invested. Ripple recently, when they announced their $10 billion valuation, they announced their latest funding round. I think it was, as I recall, don't quote me, but I think it was like $200 million that Ripple just got. Well, their last one was in 2016, and it was $55 million. So this isn't the first time large sums of money, but you can see just about everybody who's anybody in venture capital has invested. That's really the only interesting thing that I found on the Ripple Labs page. Now, let me hit you with something very interesting. Now, remember, these are the guys that were involved in the creation of Ripple and XRP. Let's talk more specifically XRP. This Ryan Fugger guy was out of nowhere. Okay, now. Then when XRP was actually created, it was created by David Schwartz, Arthur Brito, and Jed McCaleb. I think those are the three core guys, right? Well, this Ryan Fugger, somehow, what he said, now, this is his page. Now, this is his website at ryanfugger.com. Now, the reason I had to give you a website is because there's a very mysterious thing going on here. Guess who does not have a Wikipedia page? Now, I'm about to show you the people that do not have a Wikipedia page, and it starts with Ryan Fugger. Now, on his page here, now this is strange. It's kind of bizarre, and all of this is bizarre that I'm about to show you. Ryan Fugger, this is all he has. It's his webpage, and it says about, I'm a web and decentralized systems developer and consultant and founder of the original Ripple project, now carried on at ripple.com. And then he immediately goes into this chronic fatigue syndrome and starts talking about how he suffers from this chronic fatigue thing. And then he's got his Twitter handle and an email, but it's just kind of, and granted, here's my assumption here. My assumption is that this guy's a super mega brilliant type guy, and that he's just probably eccentric. Like a lot of really smart people are very eccentric, and to me, this is kind of an eccentric way to present yourself on your website. Okay, fine. Well, but question one, why does he not have a Wikipedia page? This guy was literally involved in Ripple. Now, remember, this is a company that makes no bones about how they're trying to take over Swift and put a dent in the universe. This is not just some company. It's valued at $10 billion now, okay? But this guy does not have a Wikipedia page. Okay, maybe we can look past that. My question to you is, can we look past this? David Schwartz does not have a Wikipedia page, folks. This is Ripple's $1 trillion man. This is not just some jackleg out there. This is Ripple's $1 trillion man. He does not have a Wikipedia page. And I would love to know why there is no Wikipedia page on him. Now, there is a Wikipedia page on Jed McCaleb. There is not one for David Schwartz. I would love to know the answer to why there's none on David Schwartz. Do you know who else does not have a Wikipedia page? That would be Arthur Brito, whose face we don't ever get to see, who is now with PolySign. Okay, so these guys very likely could be involved in the changing of the entire world, but they're not even important enough to have a Wikipedia page. That doesn't pass the official digital asset investor smell test, not in the least. Guys like this would have an extensive Wikipedia page unless someone did not want them to have an extensive Wikipedia page. That's just the fact, Jack. Jed McCaleb's got a Wikipedia page. Let's see if there's anything interesting on his page. Here's something. He recruited David Schwartz and secured an investment from Jesse Powell before adding Arthur Brito as the chief strategist. McCaleb recruited Chris Larson to be CEO of the new company. Now, and then it says, now look at this now. Remember, they approached, and this is what it said before, they approached Ryan Fugger, right? And it said in that last thing I read to you that he was the one that had OpenCoin. But here is what I thought is that Chris Larson became the CEO of the new company, which became known as OpenCoin. So there's a little confusion there. But the part here that I wanted to focus on that I never knew, and probably many of you did know, but it said David Schwartz, he recruited David Schwartz, and so McCaleb secured an investment from Jesse Powell. Well, Jesse Powell is the guy who runs Kraken. He's the CEO and founder of Kraken, the exchange. I had no idea about this, or either I forgot. And then there's this it says Ripple board member Jesse Powell resigns in the wake of founder sell-off. So this is when McCaleb decided to leave and was going to sell all of his XRP. It says, today I have submitted my resignation from the board of Ripple Labs. While I care about two people, He's going on about all this different stuff. He's talking about how things got hostile between him and Chris Larson. I mean, seems like I remember a little bit of this, but that kind of hit me out of nowhere. All right, so then I went to Chris Larson's Wikipedia page, and Chris Larson's is, to be honest, it was kind of boring. I tried to watch this video. I think is available on YouTube, but there wasn't really anything that you don't already know, or I didn't already know. He founded a couple of companies from the internet, from the .com days, and then he went on to get with Ripple Labs and do all this. Also, Brad Garlinghouse's page. Brad Garlinghouse's Wikipedia page does not even mention that he's at Ripple. So I thought that was kind of strange. All right, now this one's interesting. This is from, you may not know that SWIFT is actually Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. That is what the actual name of SWIFT is. Now, I found it interesting. This is SWIFT's Wikipedia page, folks. SWIFT has been criticized for its inefficiency, with the Financial Times observing in 2008 that transfers frequently pass through multiple banks before reaching their final destination, making them time-consuming, costly, and lacking transparency on how much money will arrive at the other end. At the time, its market dominance was described as being challenged by blockchain technology such as Ripple, although SWIFT argued that it But anyway, I thought it was kind of odd that they would mention Ripple right there in the on Swift's page in the description of what Swift's about. They would mention that they're being challenged by Ripple. I thought that was kind of strange. But look at this. This is where to me this is very interesting. Right. First of all, it talks about how the U.S. government gets involved and uses Swift to help, to deal with countries that it's, that it's trying to, like Iran, sanctions against Iran, and SWIFT helps the U.S. government. That's what makes what I'm about to show you next interesting. Get down here where it talks about competitors. Look at this. Alternatives to the SWIFT system have emerged. Due to advances in cryptographic technology, blockchains, and the politicization of SWIFT, these include 1. Ripple, sponsored by the crypto firm. 2. Instex, sponsored by EU. 3. SIP, sponsored by China. 4. SPFS, sponsored by Russia. I have a question for anybody that's using their common sense today. In that list of 4, there is only one that is sponsored by a company, and the United States is nowhere in the game here. So basically, what we're supposed to believe is that these things, now it's very obvious when you in this read up, it's very obvious on the world stage that SWIFT is a dying technology it can't keep up with digital assets and all this, and it's not keeping up with it. In fact, they admit that they're trying to get to where they can do transactions in 30 minutes, while Ripple's like 3 to 4 seconds. Well, look at this list, and you tell me, do you think that Ripple, when you look at this list, are you thinking to yourself, because I'm not, are you thinking to yourself, yeah, we've got the European Union, we've got China, Russia, so we got 2 bad guys, one that's our ally, and then we've got Ripple, which is a private company, and the U.S. is nowhere involved in that, what Ripple's doing. This is totally just some private company, but meanwhile, you've got all these other countries they're doing it themselves. You have to ask yourself if Ripple is a lot bigger than we even realize. I don't have to ask myself. There's not a doubt in my mind that Ripple, there's not one doubt in my mind. And I'm not saying this because somebody told me something. I'm saying it just from pure what I've read, seen, observed over the last, since 2013. The United States is not sitting on its hands watching these countries develop all of these things. I don't know exactly how the United States would go about if they wanted to create their own thing that might be a competitor to everyone else that's trying to get around. Because make no mistake, getting around SWIFT is also about getting around the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And the United States is not a country that wouldn't have a plan, folks. It's not a country that wouldn't have a plan. That's all I'm going to say there. And I'm not buying the lack of Wikipedia pages on David Schwartz and Arthur Brito. Just not buying it. Not going to buy it. That is not a coincidence. Remember, Wikipedia, people can go in and add information into Wikipedia and say, okay, well, here's more about your history. They can do that, This Arthur Brito, you know what else doesn't pass the smell test? You can tell me anything you want to tell me, but a guy as important as Arthur Brito does not just have no picture for no reason. And it's not, and I've heard a bunch of different reasons. I'm not going to go over the reasons I've heard, but none of it makes any sense. None of the reasons I've ever heard. Okay. This is from XRP Crypto Wolf. The money, no, it's not. It's not from XRP Crypto Wolf. This is from MoneyGram. And I think, I'm drawing a blank on who sent me this. I'm going to give credit to Michelle Vandenberg on this. I think that's who sent it to me. Sorry if I missed you. The MoneyGram team is thrilled to announce a strategic partnership with Lulu Exchange. We're excited to help Lulu digitize its money transfer business and partner together to bring leading consumer-centric capabilities to consumers in Oman and across the Asia Pacific region. And then XRP Crypto Wolf had summarized some of this with a quote. CEO, I always draw a blank on this guy's name, Alex Holmes, said Lulu is looking to digitize its money transfer business, and we're proud to be the catalyst to help them along with extend our digital reach across Oman and the Asia Pacific. And then XRP Crypto Wolf is, of course, as always, knocking it out of the park. South Korea is planning to charge a 20% tax on income from cryptocurrency transactions. Korea is yet to finalize its direction, but it has become more likely for the income from the cryptocurrencies trading to be labeled as other income and not crypto. What's important about this, folks, is that their regulations are getting in place so that people, the potential investors, know what their exposure is so that they're not as afraid to invest in digital assets. Next, from XRP Crypto with Fidelity is hiring a Bitcoin mining engineer to expand its mining operations. They're hiring for the role to help design, build, and maintain the infrastructure to run and scale its BTC mining operations. Yes, sir, they're getting in the game big time. Then the crypto utility guy sent me this. Now, remember, folks, I think starting tomorrow, I believe, CoinDesk at the World Economic Forum 2020, crypto themes to watch as Davos gets underway. And it goes through, this is a good article for you to go and check out, setting the stage, talks about some of the things having to do with crypto that'll be going on here. I'm not going to go into the article or anything, but it's worthy of you going and checking out. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And tell your friends and family that the World Economic Forum in Davos begins this week, and it should be interesting. It could be interesting. Thank you for listening.